It is 11 a.m. It's Wednesday, October 23rd, 2024. Call this meeting to order to get updates from Holly Hampton and the Forest Service. So I'll just turn it over to you. Tell us what's going on in your world.
Yeah, so I have a few updates. I thought I might share a few numbers just from, because we're at the end of our fiscal year. So I have a few bigger ticket items that we completed this last year that we've talked about over the last few meetings. We are starting to wrap up our fall burn window. Last time I kind of gave you guys a quick brief on some of those bigger landscape burns we were going to be doing in the backcountry. They couldn't have lined up any better for the timing. And I remember we spoke because it was seemed a little off just because, as a nation, even today, we're still in a PL4, which, it's October 23rd. So, and a month ago, we were in PL5. So we got ahead of the media and we did get a fair bit of pushback in the media piece, like, what are they doing? Like, we're surrounded by fires. So we got ahead of that, took time to explain ourselves and educate, and had a lot of interactions actually out on the ground too, because people were seeing smoke and like to come look. Those were all really positive interactions, but the conditions we had here in North Idaho lined up perfectly. It couldn't have gone any better. We got almost 2,000 acres between those three areas I kind of highlighted to you in the upper river, and then here we did get that Graham one completed. So we had just enough drying out. We were able to have really successful ignitions, and then for all of them, it rained the next day. So you still have some, as we do that purposefully, takes a lot of coordination and watching, and but they went really well.
Good.
So pretty pleased with that. So we're still doing some burning now, but it's more of like some slash stuff. We're doing piles this week because it's cold and wet, and so those will go, but our backcountry stuff is pretty well wrapped up for the year.
That's good.
Just finished up some fall planting. We had spring planting as well too, so we got almost 1,400 acres completed this year. A lot of it was in other fire scars or other timber sales that had recently been harvested, but including character fire. And if you remember the old Columbus fire, those were a couple of our larger areas that we started planting this year.
And what did you plant?
A mix. Oh, yeah, I knew you would ask that. A mix, but we did tamarack. I don't think we did fern, a lot of those. So it depends on the site, doing the species preference for what we would prefer to have in there. Let's see, you have been meeting, I think, do you guys still meet with Pottsville 7 here or there? So, we've been working on that Shoshone Park restroom project. So we just got that decision signed last week. So we'll be able to move forward. We'll push implementation till next summer, just given the time of year. But Pottsville 7 will be able to proceed and get those 3 different restrooms in that park.
Yeah, I guess
replaced
they have
next
them.
year.
Or I guess
they purchased them.
They're coming, and they're going to be graciously held at Zanetti's until.
So they can do it next year.
They can do it next year. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. So
that's what I was told.
Yep, that sounds right. So that'll be a really nice improvement for that park. And in the meantime, we've been working on continuing to remove some of the hazard trees out of there to protect the new investment that is going in there. I hate to have a tree come over on one of those new siestas, but just some of the other facilities in there too with the covered areas.
You're gonna fall some of those trees next.
Yep, we've falled actually quite a few this season.
Okay, some of the big ones that were.
Yeah,
it's kind of sad, but the root were rotten.
They're sick, and it's it's better to have us or somebody fell them before it either
damages or kills.
So they spent time. We had, I think you're aware, but the entomologist had come out there too to really help us identify. A lot of them are sick, but some have lifespan in them, but some of them need to come. Otherwise, they will come on their own soon.
So, what is killing them?
There's root rot in there, and there's a moth in there. So they're pretty nasty, and it's funny because you look at them from like a distance, or even up close, frankly, until you're like really looking at it, and they look like perfectly healthy trees because they don't, like, the needles aren't necessarily falling off. It's not like they look like a sick tree, but you start getting up, look at that bark, and all the sap is coming out, and see there's bugs, and some of those trees too, like they look good, but they might be completely decayed in that bowl of that body or hollow, and so it just takes a windstorm. And
yeah, we had some heavy windstorms this year. It was just some outrageous windstorms that the wind would pick up for like a half an hour, 15 minutes, and that's one of those that they call microburst or something like that.
When it's a real right in one spot, and it can be pretty nasty. We've had some of those in our recent campgrounds too. And earlier, I think Kit Price experienced that. Bumblebee, those things came through and just wiped it out. So, so that's a good project that will move forward. Trails, it's been impressive being here. We talk a lot about recreation. We receive a great deal of recreation on the district, and particularly in Shoshone County of the district. We do have a lot of working partners in that mode. We work with Backcountry ATV, Pantra, ITA, the Nordic Ski folks. So they help us with a lot of our trail maintenance throughout the summer with great partnerships. But we got almost 340 miles of maintenance done this year.
Oh, wow.
Both with our staff, our partner groups, and actually we had 2 YCC groups this year that helped on the district, which are youth crews. So they're high schoolers. So that was pretty cool. We haven't had a YCC group, at least since I've been here. It's probably been a few years. So we had high schoolers for a good 2 months that were able to help with a lot of that work.
Are those local, or they come?
Yep, they're local kids. So these 2 crews this last year were based out of Coeur d'Alene, but we had kids were pulled from the Silver Valley. I think we had a couple kids from Athol, maybe a kid or 2 from Post Falls. So they recruit at the high schools and give them get a chance to work up a resume and kind of work through some of those motions. So pretty cool. I'm not sure what we have some budget constraints at the moment in our NSCRs, I'm sure you're aware, but I think we're hoping to maybe get at least 1 crew again next summer. I can't remember the individuals that came from the Silver Valley, but I think we had a pretty good experience, and we set them up so they carpool together, and it's a good opportunity for those kids, and it gives them a little glimpse into the public agency, if it might be something that they want to pursue one day, especially, they live right in it. So, but I think a lot of folks still don't always know what we do.
And do you guys take, would they take donations and things like that to support groups to do that, or how?
Not the YCC, because they're funded just like us. Like I couldn't accept a donation to fund me. But our partner groups, those other trail groups, they have a lot of their memberships, and they have fundraising opportunities that go into their memberships.
And that can help pay maybe to bring kids in to do that?
They could, So actually, that's a really good question. So with the 2 YCC crews that we did have, we had one that was more hosted out of our office, and then 1 crew was hosted actually by Lake City Trail Alliance. So they could help fund those kids too if they wanted, and they actually helped fund like their trail lead. And they were primarily working on like the Canfield Trail system. But there is opportunity to do that through the partner groups.
It's good to know.
I think anytime we have opportunity to pull in our youth and get some youth engagement, it's really important. So, because they will be sitting in this seat one day for us.
That's right.
So always looking for more opportunity or thoughts from you guys too, if you see any avenues. With hiring too, just because the timing is there, we are coming up on what we call fire hire. Our permanent stuff has come through, but our seasonal fire hire is coming up, and that's where we do recruit fairly heavily in the Silver Valley at the high schools, and it would be kids who are graduating, because you have to be 18 years old to fight fire. But we had a number of individuals that were out of our SEO office this year. So we'll be looking to do that again. But that window's, I think it's open here in the next day or 2, and probably open for a couple of weeks. And that's the window where kids can actually like get in and apply.
And they'd be applying for next year?
It would be applying for next year, which it always seems odd because it's so early and what a kid is thinking about what they're going to be doing next summer because we just wrapped up summer. It is just kind of what it is. The whole process doesn't take place right now, but then getting their application in is now. Now they won't start receiving calls about potential jobs till well after the holidays, which is also not great because then they kind of wonder what's going on. But we try to describe that well to them when, if they call and have questions or they're working through that application process. But that window is open now. And really, we rely on a lot of local folks from the Silver Valley, particularly for our fire crews out of the SVO office. Okay. So I really have some really stand-up individuals that work there. The only other thing I had, I can't remember if I mentioned this last time, but we were going to be looking at doing it, and we just wrapped it up, but just with coming into hunting season, and again, tied to that recreation mode and off-road vehicle use. The last 2 years, it picks up during hunting season, but really it's all year. We get a lot of use that is in unauthorized areas. So whether they're taking vehicles up behind gates that are closed or roads that are closed. So we did what we called some emphasis patrols that we did at the opening of hunting season this year, just to get out and kind of work and educate public with what is open and what is not open on our motor vehicle use areas. We did 3 big weekends, and we worked with our local staff went out and patrolled, and then our law enforcement patrolled, and we had 3 or 4 individuals from Fish and Game who patrolled with us as well. They're already out there patrolling, but we kind of set up some areas, and we reached a lot of people.
That's good.
And so I think it was well worth the effort. Got a lot of good feedback too. I think people actually enjoyed seeing the white vehicles out there and present. Probably reached a handful of folks who were somewhat irritated because they had a plan in mind. That's okay. But we also got with a lot of folks too where, they were hiking in on those closed roads and they stayed closed. They didn't have any interactions with people on motor vehicles. So, we'll probably look to do that again next year.
That's a great idea because we have a lot of new people coming into the area. Yeah. And those are a lot of the people that, may not understand.
You don't know what you don't know. But the education pieces, and really we do rely a lot on that motor vehicle use map. That is somebody's ticket to know where they can and can't go, because not every road is gated or signed. Once upon a time they were, but we have a lot of issues with people removing or shooting them up. So that's a constraint, but people still should just gotta know before you go. Should know if they're on private or Forest Service or industry. So I think that went off really well.
Well, that Onyx works really good. And
it does.
Do you guys
doesn't have the roads on there though?
Is there any way that the Forest Service at some point in time would partner with those guys and maybe have that to where
that has come up? I think that would be a great idea. It would be on Onyx to pull in our motor vehicle use map, but because people do use, even my family uses that because it shows the ownership really clearly and who owns it. It's one thing if you're just trying to tell if it's private or Forest Service, but if you're wanting to hunt private, you need to know whose it is. Onyx is a really great tool.
Yeah, well, I have my sons use it, and they send me a link to where they're going to be. So if something were to happen, at least I know where they're at.
Yep, exactly.
Or their other brothers, though.
Yeah, so definitely a good tool. And the motor vehicle use maps, though, you can get it doesn't have to be a hard copy map. They can download it. You can use it in the map app, so you can track right along and say, oh, here I am, here I'm not. But but then people are kind of switching between Onyx, that map.
Yeah, maybe it'd be a good idea for them to look at have Onyx contact you guys since it's a.
Yeah, and they could just pull it in. Yeah. So. Okay. Yeah. And then really the only thing we are operating, I think you probably know we're in a CR through December 12th, so we're just kind of waiting to see how things shake out, but we are through that CR pretty tight on budget as an agency right now, so we're doing what we can with what we have. but it's
we know how that
limited.
goes.
Yeah.
We're very experienced at that.
Yeah. So no different, but it does affect a little bit of our program of work because we can only do with the resources that we have. But hopefully we'll get some good news after December 12th. And maybe it'll be continued. I don't know yet. So that's what I had for updates. Anything from you or anything you were hoping to be updated on and didn't share?
No. I was curious how the burn season went, so it's good to hear.
It went great.
And I kind of, I'll bet that southern Idaho, because, I was in southern Idaho,
Right.
It's so much different up here because we got more moisture up here. I mean, just like
10
times the moisture because we have ferns and a lot of undergrowth.
Yeah.
And down there, you didn't have that.
No. Yeah, the circumstances are much different. I mean, even the Boise is still just finally stopped burning.
Yeah.
So in some of those forests, but yeah, our conditions up here are a lot different, but our windows are also very small to kick it off successfully. So that's why even when our time happened to be when our, agency was in appeal 4 or 5, but we still needed to move, and it was worth it for us to work through those different hoops and whatnot to get that window. Because if we had waited, we wouldn't have burned.
Yeah.
We would have missed the window. We would have just been throwing fuel out on the ground and we would have just been sitting there. So, lined up perfectly. But we appreciate the support in moving forward. I do know it is, when it's 80 degrees out still and you look at a smoke up on the ground that we're lighting. So we'll keep talking when we do activities like that.
Well, I'm glad it worked well for you this year.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And hopefully, too, the education piece will continue with the community that we want to see. They're going to see smoke in the air that time of year from us.
Now, are you guys burning this week on Pine Point, or is that BLM?
That might be BLM, not us.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. We're doing some stuff that's closer to Coeur d'Alene. It's piles.
Okay. Somebody said they saw a sign that there would be some burning going on Pine Point with piles starting today.
Okay.
So it's not you guys, must be BLM.
Yeah. Is that in the Pine Creek area?
Pine Creek.
Yeah, it's probably BLM.
Pinehurst.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's good. I know where to direct them if somebody has a question.
Yeah. Yep.
Say, no, that one's not Holly.
Yep. Not this time. Yep. But we can always point them in the right direction too.
Okay.
So.
Well, I sure appreciate this, and I think the public, we do get a lot of folks that watch these tapes, so.
Okay, good.
So that helps get your word out.
Yeah.
And we just appreciate the cooperation.
Absolutely. Well, us too. So it's been a nice working relationship. So more to come.
Okay, well, thank you.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
I was thinking ahead for our next, we'll probably be pretty quiet through the holidays.
Okay.
So I was looking, maybe I'll set the next up one in January.
Okay.
Does that seem all right? And if something changes, you want me sooner, let me know.
Okay.
Or if you have something, but otherwise I was thinking January.
Okay.
Okay.
Not that I don't mind coming here, but.
Well, and
make it
Sydney's always good
thoughtful.
for working it out, so.
Okay. Cool.
Appreciate it very much.
All right.
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank
Okay.
you.
And we are adjourned.